Welcome, everyone, to the L7C Podcast Superhero Edition. Today, we are continuing the L7C Bracket month, this time bringing you the Captain Byron Mitchell doing a bracket that you've heard a lot of people actually talk about, but actually never done. We are going to be doing the best MCU movie post Endgame. Everyone's been talking about it for years. Oh, post Endgame this, post Endgame that. We're going to decide what the best movie really is post Endgame in a March Madness style bracket. The seedings were randomized, and we're gonna get into it. But first, we got again the captains with us. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing great. When I first saw the brackets, I was fired up. But going through them the last couple of days, this tournament is a lot harder to pick than you think it is. So I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are and excited to talk about the MCU.
And the captain was on the first bracket challenge of the month that's out already. He was there with our My Hero enthusiast, Andrea Alanis. We did what was the best season between the 8 seasons of My Hero, the Demon Slayer, JJK. So make sure you check that out. That was the first one of the bracket challenge. By the time you listen to this, there may be some other bracket challenges out. But again, the first one is out already by the time you're listening. So check that out and follow the series, man, because this has been fun. This is Byron's again, second one already. And he still has
Hmm.
one more in the chamber for the month, maybe more. Who knows?
Who knows? March Madness is about to get crazy.
But yes, like I said, these are all the movies post Endgame. Wanted to keep it in movies because we wanted to keep the time frame short for y'all. I was almost going to do all the projects, but again, I felt like that was going to be too long. Maybe next year, from next March, Byron will hit the projects, the TV shows. So right now, we got the movies all the way up to Captain America: Brave New World. It was all random seating. Byron, you ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go right into it. And he's seeing the same bracket I'm seeing, just like we did the Demon Slayer My Hero one. He already knows the bracket stuff. So let's get into it. First one, Byron, Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania. So basically Ant-Man 3 versus
Hmm.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
All right. So before I get into it, so my criteria for choosing, which to choose over which. So, which one had the better fights? Which
Mm-hmm.
one had the better emotional beats? So, like how it
Mm-hmm.
made me feel watching it in theaters. Overall, better story, and then overall, better villain.
Mm-hmm.
And if there was a tie between those four questions, which one I enjoyed more?
So you kicked,
Uh,
so critical score and money made, no difference to you.
nope, didn't
Okay,
matter to me.
okay. Good to get that criteria out there. But
Even
go
though I
ahead,
did
Byron.
look at the Rotten Tomato scores just to
Mhm.
see, but overall, that wasn't a criteria for me.
Okay.
So in this matchup, I actually have Spider-Man Far From Home. I think Ant-Man did have the better villain, as we've talked about. Jonathan Majors was so good as Kang. It's disappointing, all that stuff that happened. Um, I think for me, fights are better for Spider-Man. The emotional beats go to Spider-Man as well for the reveal of his identity and the shock I felt when it happened watching it in theaters. So for this round, this matchup, I'm going Spider-Man Far From Home.
I don't disagree with you by any means. I think that one of the emotional beats too is just because of the way it went. That was the first movie after Endgame.
Hmm.
So, him trying to, everyone giving the pressure of you're going to be the next Tony Stark, stuff like that. And to see how they
Hmm.
follow it up in the next movie. So I agree. I agree. Can't complain with that. Oh, the Marvels versus Black Widow.
This one was tough for me because I
Okay.
do love Iman Vellani as
Come on,
Miss
come on.
Marvel. I think
Mhm.
she does fantastic in her role. I think the fights go to the Marvels. Like I love the switching place fighting that they did. I think that was such a neat concept, and I love
Mhm.
that they were able to pull it off. Black Widow, I gave for the mesh more emotional beats. Just for the Elena speech during the dinner, for that emotional moment of like, oh, this family was real to me this whole time while you all were just playing along with the mission. So I gave the better emotional beats for Black Widow because of that scene.
Hmm.
I think Black Widow overall had the better story and villain, so this round I am actually picking Black Widow for the win.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think also too with Black Widow, one, it was unfortunate because you had the whole COVID stuff and all that jazz, and then it should have came out a long time ago, just because
Hmm.
obviously the timing of it, it came out when we knew Natasha was dead. But if I remember correctly, it was actually one of the first. Yes, it was the first movie that made you tie into a Disney Plus show because
Yes.
the end credit scene of Elena and that one girl saying, "Oh, this is the person who killed your sister," and gave her the
Hmm.
picture of Clint, and that led directly into Hawkeye.
Yep.
So it was the first movie that the post credit scene was directly tied to a show, which is important.
Yeah, it further builds up that world building, and we see Elena and Hawkeye for a couple episodes, and then she's actually about to be in a movie, Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I mean, her and
Yeah.
Red Guardian still have their story continuing from that. Um, and you got to see small stuff too of how Natasha got the Quinjet that they were using and all that
Hmm.
jazz. But then I guess also from the bias thing that their fake family, they started off living in Ohio. So,
True.
oof, oof. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness versus Deadpool and Wolverine.
So fights I give to Deadpool and Wolverine. I struggle with who had the better story. I want to give it to Doctor Strange for the better story because of the whole Scarlet Witch trying to find her lost family, even though she's going about it the wrong way. I think Deadpool and Wolverine for me had the more emotional moments. That fight that they had in the car where basically Wolverine read Deadpool the right acts, and then the whole emotional scene between him and X-23. So I think they had the more emotional moments. Both had insane cameos. Better villain, I would give it to Scarlet Witch because of, you know, her motivation to become a villain. But the I give Deadpool and Wolverine the edge.
So, and I agree. My thing with this, you brought the came for two different things. I think Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness had too high of expectations. They didn't meet anyone's
Hmm.
expectations. And then Deadpool and Wolverine, people are like, let's see. And they exceeded everyone's expectations, especially in the cameo department. Because remember,
Hmm.
Multiverse of Madness, everyone thought everyone was going to be there.
Hmm.
Like, you thought Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was going to be there, even though he was dead. And you thought Deadpool, Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, all that. And the cameos were cool, but they did not live up to everyone's expectations, the
Hmm.
masses, because everyone expected more. Go to Deadpool and Wolverine's cameos. No one really. Jennifer Gardner, Blade. I mean, Elektra, Jennifer Gardner, Blade, Wesley
Yeah.
Snipes. Finally seeing Gambit, Channing
Yep.
Tatum, who stole the show with the his signature lines that he was doing.
Hmm.
Like you didn't expect those cameos, which was
Well, the only one we
crazy.
knew about was Electra because that got leaked, and then X-23 got leaked because she was at the not the press conference, the premiere before it came out.
True,
So we really didn't know about Blade or Channing Tatum as Gambit. So
but
I
you can
think
leak
like
something and then they could take it out.
that's true.
That's
That's
the
true.
thing, like with people with leaks. I'm just like, unless I see it, I don't believe it because there's been stuff leaked and then it never happens.
You're there. It's a very good point. Very good point.
So that's why I think they just succeeded. They introduced a new thing of the anchor being. So now we're just like,
Hmm.
all right, what the hell is the anchor being a 616? And you saw Deadpool actually getting to see. Oh, we're not even talking about freaking Chris Evans
Oh yeah,
cameoing as freaking Human Torch. Like
yeah,
again,
coming
like
back.
crazy stuff you thought Multiverse of Madness because it's called Multiverse of Madness, but you really didn't. And also too, the cameos in X-Men did a lot. I mean, X-Men. The cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine did a lot more than the ones in Doctor Strange. They really got hoed in the Doctor Strange. If we're being honest, they got wasted.
They did. They did. Because like Black Bolt, he can do some stuff. Like they
Reed
hold
Richards,
him.
the smartest person ever, and like he didn't do anything. Xavier getting his head snapped. Peggy
Hmm.
Carter, Haley Atwell getting cut in half. Like, and
Hmm.
then their Miss Marvel, I mean, their Captain Marvel getting smoked. Like it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
At least the ones here they got to find like all the things, and we know they're coming back. And the
Hmm.
TVA, seeing the TVA in a movie.
Which expounded from Loki season 1 and season 2.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just like it was just bad. It wasn't. It was just like Doctor Strange had so much expectations. It was cool, but just they didn't have all the cameos people thought. And then Deadpool and
Hmm.
Wolverine had all the cameos. No one was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Right, the ones no one expecting.
Mhm. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever versus Eternals.
I don't really think we need to debate on this one. Black Panther,
Yeah,
Wakanda forever.
yep. Still. And she's talked about it recently. Still grinds the gears how Angel Bassett did not win the Oscar, but won everything else.
Hmm.
Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings versus Thor: Love and Thunder.
This one was an easy one for me too. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. No offense to Thor, Love and Thunder.
Thor had too high expectations because it was following off Ragnarok.
Hmm.
And Ragnarok was so good and all these things and all these gods were going to die and then it just the ending and some of the special effects, it just wasn't it.
Hmm.
Now we move into the second round. The newest movie that just came out, Captain America Brave New World versus Spider-Man Far From Home.
All right. So
Mm,
fights, I think go to Cap 4. I think I enjoyed their fights more than Far From Home. Emotional beats, again, I think goes to Spider-Man. Like we talked about the whole reveal of his identity and dealing with Tony's death after Endgame. Story I give to Spider-Man only because of how convoluted Cat 4 was when it should have been a Hulk movie, as we talked about on the previous podcast. The villain I'll give to Cat 4 for the deep-seated revenge plot from a movie that happened in 2008. Um, but overall, I put Spider-Man Far From Home as a winner.
I don't disagree. Black Widow versus Deadpool and Wolverine.
This one, this one was we're about to get in a tough area. This one was a tough matchup for me. I like both movies. I think DP3 had the better fights. I think they had the more emotional moments for Deadpool 3. I think Black Widow had the better story. And I would give the slight edge to Black Widow for the better villain with the Red Room and her trying to take down
Really?
the Red Room.
Okay, the red. Okay, because
Yeah.
Taskmaster was weak.
Taskmaster was weak, yes, but I'm including Taskmaster and the whole overarching red taking down the Red Room. I originally had DP3 as the winner, but I think, yeah, I'm gonna stick with DP3 as the winner.
I don't disagree. I think the thing that really pushes him from it is just the Taskmaster was so terrible, and the way they finally
Hmm.
beat Taskmaster and all that stuff, it was just bad. Like I didn't like that at all, and maybe because I was coming off of like Taskmaster really being it, like having his little well, in this movie it was a she, but like having this little thing like where he was in the Spider-Man game doing some things, Spider-Man 1.
Hmm.
Obviously a big part of the Avengers video game that came out.
Hmm.
I was expecting Taskmaster really do some stuff, and then it was just like, it was just weak for me.
Yeah, this was a worse version of Taskmaster if I've ever seen.
Ooh. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
This one was also another tough matchup. Um, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had the better fights.
Hmm.
Black Panther 2 had the more emotional moments,
Hmm.
as we talked about, dealing with T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman's death, and them honoring it. Angela Bassett's speech after Shuri was taken and her subsequent death, which we didn't think was going to happen.
Hmm.
And then, like we said, Angela Bassett should have won an Oscar for her performance.
Hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 had the better villain. There is no
Oh
God, so I
yes,
became one is an all-time villain line. Like,
yes.
I think their stories are equal. So I can't put one story over the other because I think they're equal. I'm going to give this to Black Panther 2 because of those emotional moments and how I felt in theater just watching it and them honoring T'Challa slash Chadwick Boseman.
Mm, man,
Like I said, it's tough.
yeah, this is tough. The Guardians of the Galaxy 3 villain, man. Like, and we talked about it for a long time when that movie came out of, man, why can't we just recast him as Kang and keep it going?
Hmm.
Because he already
Hmm.
was, and I think with Guardians 3, a lot of the emotional bits you didn't really, Rocket's whole story is a whole
Yeah.
emotional thing throughout the whole movie. Like seeing like his first day one crew and him being so close to them and just seeing how he is because and seeing all that sad stuff like that was sad. And then also too the sadness of this Gamora and Peter never going to be together because she is the one before they met and
Hmm.
like he's still in love with the one who died and this one's there and like and then like she's saying at the end like oh I bet we had a great time and then like oh, Peter was like they were the best and then them going their separate ways.
Yeah, and then the team essentially that we know and love breaking up because Drax leaves, goes his separate ways, and then
Mhm.
Mantis leaves and goes her separate ways. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Gamora goes with the Ravengers. Peter comes back to Earth, and
right?
Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock. I forget who else is on the new Guardians. Oh, Nebula's there. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy because then they're following up post Endgame because again Peter Quill he talked about look got a lot of shit from Infinity War like
He
cost
did.
him
He did.
basically the stuff and then he lost his girl and then the girl came back and he's been trying to get her back. It's not the same and yeah so. It's just like Guardians 3. I mean, it's just, and that was the last one, like the Swan, because James Gunn, that was his last movie, and to have a swan song like that, especially that
Yeah.
hallway, not hallway, but like that ship scene at the end where they're all uniting to fight
Yeah.
again. I'm like,
And
that's
they
a
all
great,
get their own separate but equal moment. It's great.
yeah.
Yeah, talking about. I'm gonna have to go Guardians of the Galaxy 3. No offense to Black Panther 2. Like
Oh,
either of those could have went into the next round
oh
for
yeah, there's
me.
there's no. Oof. Spider-Man No Way Home, the third Spider-Man movie, versus Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings.
Again, another tough matchup,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed these movies both. One for Shang-Chi's origin story. Fights, I enjoyed the fights in Shang-Chi more. The fight between his mother and his father where they first met was beautiful and cinematic. The bus fight that Shang-Chi had was amazing. The one between his dad and him was amazing, and then they fight a fucking dragon at the end. Spider-Man No Way Home had the more emotional beats. The death of Aunt May was heartbreaking. We didn't think that was going to happen in the movie. For the better story, I think it's a tie for me personally. I can't give one story a clear advantage over the other. And the villains, I mean, if we're going like group of villains, I would give it to Spider-Man.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to give it to Shang-Chi because I've definitely watched this movie more than I've watched No Way Home.
Shang-Chi annoys me for the post-credit scene because again,
Hmm.
everything just discombobulated. Like the Avengers are disassembled, but then I see Hulk, Captain Marvel, and
And Wong.
Wong talking to Shang-Chi saying, "Welcome to the team," talk about the rings or calling to something like, so are y'all really disassembled or not? Like that makes no sense. I
Hmm.
think with Spider-Man, you obviously, I mean, no disrespect to Shang-Chi, but post Endgame, I think No Way Home had the biggest eruption in theaters because one,
Hmm.
gotta talk about it. The first time all three Spider-Men are together in a movie ever.
True.
And again, rumors coming out, but there's nothing confirmed. You see Andrew Garfield come out, you're like, oh my God. And then Toby comes out and you're like, holy shit. Everywhere you watch reactions, people going crazy, them fighting together, them talking about kind of their movies and their mishaps and all that stuff. And you want to talk about emotional bit when Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man catches Zendaya MJ.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh. And seeing the fan art of Gwen Stacy telling Peter she's so proud of him. Like that's his redemption for not being able to catch Gwen. That's great. Oh
Hmm.
man. And then seeing the whatchamacallit, the reunion with like Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man with Doc Ock and all the original villains and all of that. Seeing the stuff that why am I blanking on? Our Spider-Man, Tom Holland had to go through. Aunt May finally died. She died right there. Green Goblin
Hmm.
killed her. Peter was going to try and kill Green Goblin. And then, whatchamacallit, Toby stops him. And then Toby gets stabbed. And you're like, oh my gosh. Um, Obviously, you had Electro. They did Electro better in this one than they did in
Hmm.
Amazing Spider-Man. And Peter making the ultimate sacrifice, man. Like basically erasing him from everyone and so they don't know Peter Parker really anymore. So now his friends don't have any. Obviously, now the secret identity's back, but now his friends don't know him, and he has to start ground up by himself. And
Hmm.
that scene where him and Happy are at Aunt May's grave, and Happy just looks at Peter's like, "Oh, did you know her?" Like, brother, man. And then even the small. I know people wanted Venom in the fight, but then Tom Hardy stuff was in the post credit, but like showing that he was officially in the MCU now of Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox, being Spider-Man's lawyer. That was the beginning of the movie. And you're like,
That's
holy shit.
true.
And then he hit him with the rock. He's like, I'm a really good seeing that he was in the MCU was the start of obviously now where we're at
Hmm.
now. And like I just seeing all three Spider-Man hug, man, that's some generational shit. Like that really was because you thought you never see it and you probably will never see it again. I know there's rumors that um Andrew Garfield, he's going to play a big role in
And
Secret Wars, but we got to see it
yeah,
to believe it.
gotta get through Doomsday first.
Yeah, gotta get. But man, they had some beats, man. They had
You,
some.
you're all right. You're all right. I again, this is one of those matchups where
Oh
either
yeah,
or go, but I'll give it to No Way Home, even though I'm seeing Shang-Chi way more. 'Cause I enjoy those fights more, but
oh yeah,
we'll push No Way Home through.
yeah. Oh yeah. The Shang-Chi fights. I mean, they were crazy. Like because I wasn't even. I don't know what I was going to expect in that movie, and then seeing him go through, I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like him accepting his destiny and
Hmm.
finally kind of retconning, getting the real 10 rings type.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Iron Man 310 rings, that freaking parody was a joke and a debacle and all of that. So, but no, I don't. We'll see what he does in his next movie, but 'cause now people kind of have some expectations on the fights and all of that. So,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll see. Man, Final Four. There's Spider-Man, Far From Home, Deadpool, Wolverine, Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man, No Way Home. Byron, who's going to be the first one going to the finals? Spider-Man, Far From Home versus Deadpool, Wolverine.
All right. This one again. These last few matchups have been tough. Better fights. Deadpool 3.
Mm-hmm.
Better emotional beats. Deadpool 3.
Mm-hmm.
Better story. I gave it to Spider-Man.
Okay.
Better villain. I had Deadpool 3 as better villain,
Okay.
but I have Deadpool 3 going to the finals.
Okay. I do not disagree. No, you're Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 versus Spider-Man No Way Home. Oh boy. Oh boy.
See, I didn't really originally have this in my semifinals. I had Black Panther 2 versus Shang-Chi. All right. So better villain obviously goes to Volume 3.
Hmm.
More emotional beats, man. That's tough.
Hmm.
Probably No Way Home. 'Cause like you said, of how insane everything was. So Daredevil get introduced to the MCU, seeing
Hmm.
Andrew and Toby back. So giving the emotional beats back to No Way Home. Story, I want to say Guardians because of them trying to save Rocket,
Okay.
and us thinking that Rocket was eventually going to die.
Hmm.
Mm, better fights? Probably Guardians for the spaceship fight.
Hmm.
'Cause I guess. Mm, I guess Guardians takes this one.
Okay. Hey, I don't think you could go wrong either way. It's just this is what happens when you get to these final fours in all the brackets because then they get tough.
Mm-hmm.
So now you got the make this full screen. Now you got the finals: Deadpool and Wolverine versus Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Okay. Villain, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
Fights, Deadpool,
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine. Emotional beats. I'm going Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
Better story. So Deadpool was trying to save his universe from dying because Wolverine died, so he had to find a new anchor being. And then Guardians was them trying to save Rocket. Story, I am giving the edge to
Mm-hmm.
Guardians Volume 3. I think Guardians takes the final.
Okay. In a thrilling final, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 voted L7C's best MCU movie post Endgame. I don't think you could go wrong with that one. I don't think you can go wrong with Deadpool and Wolverine. If you end the tournament right here, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy first place, Deadpool and Wolverine second place. Then the Spider-Man's tied for third. Did this one with MMA expert Chuck because of just
Hmm.
seating. So I'm gonna throw this one to you too, Byron. The third place, if there was a third place matchup to be a definitive third, which Spider-Man movie do you like more?
No Way Home.
Fair enough. Nice and nice and quick. But no, I don't think there's any looking at the things, I think that's what the masses would agree with. I mean, I think, but no, that's what happens with random seating. You don't know where
Hmm.
people land. It's not like, there you go. What do you think, man?
I think definitely tough going round two in the
Mhm.
semifinals because I deliberated for hours and hours, and even on this podcast, I changed my mind. So again, it's up to your personal preference.
Yeah.
Again, my criteria was, who had the better fights, who had the better emotional beats, better story, better villain. No offense to the Internals and Thor: Love and Thunder for no deliberation.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. No, they didn't. Now, I think the only time they would need deliberation is if they went against each other.
That's true. The
But
first round that was matchup that was toughest for me was the Marvels and Black Widow. So I was like, ooh, random seeing. Why did they put those two together?
I think that one obviously tough for you because
Yeah,
you are a big Kamala Khan fan.
I am. I am.
So I mean that's the thing with her. Like you grew with her in the Avengers video game, and you're just like,
Hmm.
oh, the way that they portrayed that story and her, you're like, yeah, you're waiting for her to come in Marvel Rivals, like
Hmm.
so. I think that's because no other people would just be like, what the Marvels? And I mean, they're and again, who knows what the hell their end credit scene mean? Because we saw like Kelsey Grammer's Beast, and like,
That's
what's
true.
and like what we don't know what end. Some of these end credits. That was the thing that held me back. On some of them was like, did your end credit scene remotely make any sense?
Oh, that would be an interesting bracket, like the best end credit scenes.
Post Endgame or all of them?
All of them would be way too much. So probably post end game. Like, does it build to?
I mean, just looking, or just quickly looking, Black Widows when we talked about that had to deal with Hawkeye.
Hmm.
Far From Home, obviously, the secret. I was that an end credit or was that right at the end?
That was right at the end because Mysterio was about to, I don't know, die, but he got beaten and said, "Oh, there's cameras behind you, so everyone knows that you're Spider-Man now."
So that was
Well, no, no,
crazy.
no, no, that was the end credit because it was revealed in the end credits that there were cameras, and then they had the Jonah Jameson on the, I forget what tower it was in New York with the breaking news.
Yeah.
This is Spider-Man.
Yeah, so just looking at them real quick. Ant-Man and Wasp, they were like, oh, there's not going to be any more Kangs, right? Then you see the Council of Kangs about to declare war, but we got nothing on
Got
that.
nothing on that.
And that could have been crazy. Very talk more about Multi-Strange of Multiverse of Madness. You see Charlize Theron's character come in
And
telling Doc,
Clea.
yep, saying, oh, there's an incursion. Doctor Strange has that terrible animated third eye.
Hmm.
Which the incursions might be what lead to these next couple stuff, so that could be important, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever made people cry because it revealed that, T'Challa had a son
Yep.
before he passed away with old girl and he got to meet his aunt, Sherry, so that was crazy.
Deadpool and Wolverine was just a throwaway to a joke told earlier in the movie. So
Yeah. I mean, Eternals one. I mean, it could have been if it ever gets paid off. It could be crazy because obviously the judge pulled up to Earth and
yes.
yanked him away. They had
Oh no,
two
that
because
was the ending. Was
oh,
that the ending or was that the? Because I
I thought they
remember.
got two. They got that one and then they got Star Fox. Well, they got Star
No, no,
Fox
no,
pulling up.
no. Now Star Fox and his little helper was one, and then Black Knight, and then Mark Blade's voice was the other one.
Yep, yep, yep. So, man, it would have been better if it just would have been the judge pulling on that because that was
Yeah.
crazy. So that one we already talked about Shang-Chi, Thor, Love and Thunder. That's Hercules.
Where
So,
Zeus is saying go get Thor to
so
Hercules.
we'll see if that pans out to anything. I mean, it depends on. I mean, so it has to be something. It has to be a thing that panned out. I mean,
Yeah.
um, and then Captain America's one. It was just him meeting the leader of the raft, saying, "Oh, you have no idea what's coming. We'll see what you have to do when you fight them." Obviously, we're
So that
assuming
could pan out.
just secret wars and all that, but
hmm
we'll have to see. So, man, I think, hmm, just quickly. I mean, obviously, Black Widow's one panned out because now that one
Yeah.
completely panned out. All the ones with Kang are dead.
Yeah.
Um,
So Ant-Man's done.
probably a turn. I mean, probably Shang-Chi because it's probably had something to do with Kang's rings.
That's true. So Shang-Chi potentially could be done. What was it? End credit for Guardians.
Was Peter going?
Right, Peter going to meet his granddad.
Yeah,
So that was
yeah,
cute,
that's
but
yeah, yeah,
didn't really
nothing.
have anything on the future.
No,
Black Panther
but
Wakanda, we don't know if they're gonna do anything with.
this was the problem we talked about years ago on the podcast about these end credit scenes. What are they leading towards? And that's what was pissing people off in this phase.
That's true. It's true. So yeah, just looking at these, Captain America potentially.
Hmm. Black Widow already ran its course.
Black Widow's already in its course.
Spider-Man, I mean, Far From Home did his. It went full circle. That obviously
What,
had an effect in the movie.
what was the ending of No Way Home? The ending credit for No Way
That
Home.
was Venom talking to some guy
Oh right,
at
so
the
that
bar
really,
just to show that he
yeah,
was actually
in the MCU,
transferred
yeah,
there. Yeah, and then he
yeah.
got transferred back.
Deadpool Wolverine throwaway. Yeah, so right now it's Brave New World and Black Widow. They actually had and if well, maybe Eternals, but again, we don't know. So it's like probably the top three.
Yep, yep.
Because Thor: Love and Thunder was just Jane visiting Heimdall after she passed away.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anything else, man?
Only because it's currently happening. Deadpool, not Deadpool, excuse me, Daredevil just had its third episode this week. It's the show's been fire so far, so I can't wait to see what they do with these final six episodes. So if you have not watched it, do yourself a favor and go watch Daredevil.
Yeah, be on the lookout for the Daredevil review. The producers, he's coming for that one
Good.
because Daredevil's his guy now. So he's coming. We almost wanted to do a bi-weekly thing, but then I was like, the time we'd be able to do it is when the episode's already coming out.
hmm
So it just wouldn't work out. So, but we are going to do a season. He's going to be on it. So get ready.
I'm ready.
Man, Byron, anything else?
No, good bracket. Can't wait to see what next year's MCU related tournament's going to be.
It could be TV shows. It could be end credit. I mean, it could be end credit scenes. It could be characters. It could be. We're gonna have more movies added by the Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts will be in.
hmm
But next year, I don't know because next year L7C superhero podcast could all just be gearing towards Avengers 6. Avengers 5 is next year.
Which is so wild to think about.
We are going to be covering an Avengers movie on the because we did not get to cover any of the previous four.
Mm-mm.
So Avengers 5 is next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Get ready for that. With that being said, it's the L7C podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Be on the lookout for more brackets. You guys take care. We're signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.